Hello YouTube, welcome back to Nutkin Farm. You're looking right now at a tree I've just planted, picked up from the nursery this morning from Discovery International, and it's an MCT1, one of 25 that I plan to plant over the next probably 2 days. It would have been a little less than 2 days, but the digging tool I bought has proved to be a bit of a disappointment, and it's over here, this Ryobi digging tool. Not quite sure what's wrong with it yet, whether it's got a warranty fault or something, but it's meant to be able to dig 25 to 30 holes, and it stopped working after 1.5 holes. It's battery powered, certainly got a lot of strength. I can't say it made the job super easy digging. You've still got to obviously stop the whole thing from turning, and you've got to exercise downward pressure, and that's fairly hard on your hips and your lower back. So can't say I'm in love with the thing, despite it being a generally good idea. It's an electric auger basically. So for digging holes, I've gone back to Old Faithful over here, my old post hole digger, or what's called a pincer digger, where you literally use the vertical blades to penetrate the soil and then move the handles apart. It pinches, you lift the soil out, and you put it in a pile over there, which is actually a bit neater than the way an auger does it. The way the auger does it is basically spurts out soil all around the side of the hole. So I thought I'd show you how I plant macadamias. Now I stress that this is not a video on how to plant macadamias, it's just a video on how I am doing it at the moment. And picked up some collected wisdom from commenters on YouTube, from the King of Macadamias, Garth, who gave me some advice, and also from the DPI guides on, what you might want to do. Now, I won't show you digging the hole because it'll bore you to tears, but you do need to dig the hole a bit deeper than what you need. Not much deeper. The DPI website says if you dig too deep, you'll end up creating a sinkhole and the tree will just sink down too far. You want a little bit of a dip at the end so that water will drain to the tree, because that's a benefit when they're young, and but you don't want it going too deep. So a bit of loose soil at the bottom of that hole is what you start with, and I'll try and work this now so that I get the camera to point where it's meant to point, and that could be easier said than done. Anyway, to start with though, in the planting hole as my planting fertilizer, I have adopted sea mungus. Sea mungus is it's basically pelletized chicken manure that's been well composted to the point where you can actually use it in a planting hole, and it is a recommended planting fertilizer. But amongst the chicken base, it has fish, seaweed, humic acid, all good things for planting, and seaweed in particular helps protect the plant from transplant shock. The other thing I put in the planting hole is Osmocote. This is just a general landscape formula. It's got a wetting agent, which is good. Not that many people would use Osmocote. However, it's used at the nursery definitely to boost the young plants. And I think, well, look, you're putting this in the planting hole, and it's your one chance to get some nutrients, which include most of the trace elements, in the planting hole down at the root zone. You're not going to get that chance again. It's only when you plant it that you do. So just basically a handful of those things in the planting hole, and you then go mix it with some soil so that there's a bit of a soil base at the bottom, and yeah, it needs a bit of soil here on top so that you don't have fertilizer in direct contact with the roots, although Osmocote is super gentle. Right, now getting the plant out of the bag. A lot of nurseries are moving to hard plastic, but these particular ones that I bought today under the old system used at Discovery International, just use a cutter like that. See, good solid root ball. Hope that's in the field of vision there. So you just gently, trying not to disturb the roots because you cause more harm than good, put the plant in the hole. Now that's a bit on the deep side. Probably need a bit more soil underneath it, but that's okay. Right, that's a bit better, I think. Yep. And you know, once you've done that, all the rest of the planting soil in and start filling around the tree. You want a nice sort of, you want the hole to be wide enough to have that crumbly, friable soil. Again, it's the red soil, the krasnozem soil, that's just so beautiful. But I've found, like I did last year, absolutely no earthworm activity, and I hope for a better soil ecology here, because this area, this block I'm planting on, this trial plot, has been nothing but unimpeded grassland, grass headland for, I would say conservatively 10 years, probably 20, and there's just no life in the soil, no actual living creatures, other than of course the microbes you can't see. So sort of disappointing on that level, but no doubting, and you can see it for yourself, this soil is fantastic. It's crumbly, it's not clayey, and yet full of nutrient. Right, that leaves a little bit of a depression still there. That's what you want. Put a bit more sea mungus on top. Another little handful of Osmocote. And next step, important step. And it's sort of doubling up on seaweed, but this is a liquid seaweed emulsion. Sea salt. Everybody knows it. Well, everyone in the home garden has been recommended at one point or another. You give it a bit of water, basically gets rid of air pockets that you might have left behind, which is kind of important. And yeah, that's good. Now the last step, which is an optional one, but I'm still taking it, is to put on a stake and tree tube arrangement. Now that is a protection from frost, which honestly isn't an issue here. We're well above the frost line. Can also be a protection, however, from curious animals like kangaroos, who might want a nice balanced diet of grass and young macadamia foliage. Apparently hares will have a go, although I've never seen even a rabbit, let alone a hare, on this property. But while the soil and the planting's nice and wet, you can apply these tree tubes pretty easily. They stick on fairly well, provided you stake them right. You need 3 stakes per plant. So you sort of slip it over the top. Picked a bigger than average plant for the video, unfortunately, so that's makes for a less effective demo, but you put it over the plant like that. Supposedly cushions it, fosters moisture retention, fosters carbon dioxide retention too, for the leaves to transpire on. Although, as you can see, these babies that I got from the nursery are well and truly above the height of the only size tree tube that Bunnings will sell you. Still, I think better on than off, and it certainly provides a decent marker. There we go. A planted macadamia. Obviously needs a little bit of care and attention, but you know, need a bit of watering in the early days. But it'll be hopefully a fine addition to Nutkin Farm, and in the case of this MCT1, they tell me bearing crop in 3 years' time. So if I'm still making movies then, I'd best come back and give you an update, hadn't I? All right, hope you're having a nice day wherever you are. Stay safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.